Dr. Lisa Radosta, once again, she's going to give you tips for a less stressful home. I'm going to give you my tips as we go. See which ones make more sense. Because I don't see any psychology whatsoever in any of her videos. All I see is the current system of dog training under Konrad most. But again, they're all blaming B.F Skinner.
With the holidays coming, many of us are going to have visitors to our homes. And some of our pets will love having those visitors, and some of our pets...
Now, some of our pets are going to love having visitors. That poses problems of its own. I just want my dog to be calm around visitors. That's it. I don't want them excited. I don't want them scared.
Are going to be freaked out.
But all there is now is one extreme to the other.
So I want to give you a couple of tips. Whether or not your pet is scared or...
Scared or anxious, that's called fear and anxiety. Fear and anxiety are actually your emotions. Two base emotions, which are also known as instincts that drive your behaviors. Fear, anxiety, they have default behaviors. When the dog's afraid or when you're afraid, you have a default set of behaviors called fight and flight. That fight and flight response is caused by cortisol and adrenaline. That cortisol and adrenaline creates the aggression or activity.
Anxious or just overexcited.
Overexcited, and that's the biggest problem today. Number one thing I ask dog owners, and I've talked to thousands of dog owners over the years, what do you want from your dog? What do you really want from your dog? I have no opinion on the outcome of your dog. Why are you listening to a trainer tell you what you need to do? What do you want? Not once through thousands of dog owners have I ever heard the magical words, I want a trained dog. They all want an overall calm dog. That's the reality, but the dog is overexcited, the dog is uncalm. Why is the dog uncalm? That's what we're going to figure out.
Things you can do to help make the holidays great for you, for your visitors, and for your pets. So number one, I want you to look at your pet objectively.
No, I want you to look at your dog subjectively, because you need to be looking at the world through the dog's set of eyes. The problem is, we're always looking at the dog's world through the human set of eyes, and that does not give understanding. That's the reality. We need to look at the dog subjectively, not objectively. Subjectively takes the past into consideration. It takes the facts and feelings into consideration. Looking at a dog objectively, this is all Edward Thorndike and methodological behaviorism, isn't it, doctor? And what is the number one rule of methodological behaviorism under Thorndike? Do not compare human behavior with that of lesser species, right? Let's keep going.
Does your pet truly love being with your visitors?
Monty's just relaxed around visitors. That's what I want. I don't want him up in their lap. I don't want him up screaming and barking and whatever have you, looking in their face. I want Monty to be able to go over, calmly say hello, maybe take a little bit of affection and go sit on the couch somewhere, just do his own thing.
In other words, soliciting attention, wanting...
Dogs in your home should not be soliciting attention all the time. If they're soliciting attention and they're up in people's laps and everything else, there's a problem. This is not a normal relationship. This is not a healthy relationship.
To be petted, hanging out close to them, not barking or growling or lunging or hissing or swatting. Or is your pet tolerant of visitors, lying on the bed, keeping away from them, avoiding being petted? Or is your pet petrified, growling, barking, lunging, hissing, swatting?
And this is what I want to get into. Why is the dog doing all this in the first place? That's the question. What is the cause? The behaviors are the effect. I don't care about behaviors. I never did. I could see the same behaviors from any dog in fight or flight or any human in fight or flight. I don't care about behaviors. I need to understand the cause because I'm going to focus solely on the cause. Why is the dog afraid? Why is the dog anxious? Why is the dog angry? These are base emotions. And it's the emotions that are driving the behaviors.
Hiding, trying to escape. All right, so now that you've looked at your pet objectively, pet number one.
Again, look at your dog subjectively. That's the problem. Subjective, doctor. Subjective, not objective.
Which is the pet who really wants to be with the visitors, that pet can be out with the visitors, but I'll tell you in a minute how to do that safely.
How to do it safely. There's always that modicum of fear. That's the reality. A dog should not be all amped up when people come in the house. It should be calm. Why is the dog not calm? Why is the dog, jumping and looking for all that affection? Why are they looking for everything? They shouldn't be.
Pets 2 and 3, the ones that are either apathetic, withdrawn, distancing themselves, or...
Now, here's the thing. You would look at my dog and think they're distancing, withdrawn, whatever have you, because he's just calm. When people come in, he might bark once just to alert me to somebody coming in. That's it. Then he goes calm. He might go, he's going to sniff them. He's going to go over and say hello. Then he's going to lay on the couch. That's what I want. That's normal behavior. I don't want a dog up in people's laps. I don't want a dog licking people's faces the whole 9 yards. I just want them to be calm. Not a big deal.
Actively trying to escape or showing aggression.
Now, why is the dog showing aggression? Okay? One of the big things that I'm constantly telling dog owners, if you want calm inside the household, get rid of all the uncalm things. You got trainers, you got behaviors, vet behaviors, get the toys, get the sniffle mask, get all this stuff of excitement, all the enrichment. Okay? But the problem is, all of that enrichment is causing the excitement. The dog can't settle down. The dog's always got a toy. The dog has always got something to play with. The dog has always got something to be amped up with. And then you're wondering why your dog is trying to eat people coming in the freaking front door. Get rid of all the toys. Get rid of all the excitement because you want calm in the house. Okay? You want calm in your house, and get rid of everything. If you want to be uncalm, get out in the backyard. If you want to be uncalm, let's go for a walk. Let's get out and burn it off. But inside the house means calm.
Really need to be separated from visitors.
Really need to be separated from visitors. That's the worst possible thing in the world you can do. And this is not psychology, is it? This is Konrad Most training dogs yet again, isn't it? This is Edward Thorndike and methodological behaviorism. What do you do instead? Okay? When you have a person come in, the owner, first of all, needs to be calm. Just relax. Put the dog on a leash and stand into the living room. Have somebody come in. You know what? They don't need to look at the dog. Don't talk to the dog. Just ignore the dog. Sit on the couch. Do your thing. Let the dog learn to rationalize. The dog might bark, the dog might lunge, whatever have you. Just stand there, shut up, and do nothing as the owner. Let them get that out of their system. This is called a rationalization process, which most dogs aren't getting today because you're being told by trainers, vets, and behaviors to reward and punish. You're telling you to step in between your dog and something in the environment that's literally punishing them, and you're going to reward or punish your dog on top of that for an environmental punishment that you don't understand. It's negative reinforcements that generate behavior of fight and flight. The person coming in the door is generating the dog's response of fight and flight. The person coming in the door, their very presence is a force that's causing the behaviors. Why is the behaviors happening? Stand there, do nothing, shut up, and let the dog sort it out. When the dog relaxes and goes calm and realizes, okay, you know what, there's nothing bad happening here, nothing negative is happening here, they're going to turn around, they're going to realize, okay, I can make this not a big deal. And if you keep doing that and get the dog back to a calm state, that's where you're going to be having success.
So, how do you separate your pet from visitors? The first thing you do is you create a sanctuary space. A sanctuary space is not punishment. It can be a room, it can be an...
But you're giving them a way to avoid. That's not what you want. You're giving them that flight response. That's not a good thing. They never get over it. If they never ever get a chance to face their fears, they will never get over them. The problem is, if they're avoiding the subjects, they do not trust the owner. My dog trusts me 100%. My dog respects me 100%. I respect him 100%. I trust him 100%. As the dog is looking to me for my state of motion. And all I'm giving them is calm. So when people come in my home, guess what? There's no reaction to it. But if the dog is avoiding, this is not fixing anything. The dog needs to be able to face their fears, but the dog doesn't trust the owner to be the leader. That's the problem. So they're avoiding. They're running away. And this is not healthy.
Area, it can be a crate, an exercise pen, okay? It's a place where your pet can go and get away from everything and relax.
And you know what? A bedroom of their own is a great idea. Every dog should have a space in the home that belongs to them. You know what? When they go in there, leave them the frig alone. They let them go in there, stress out or stress less, whatever have you. Let them go for a nap. It's their bedroom. Treat it like a bedroom. Don't go in it. Don't invade it. When the dog is in there, leave them alone. You just don't need to have a door on it.
This is good for cats and for dogs. Ideally, you're going to want to have trained this, right?
To have trained this. That's the whole problem. They're trying to train an emotional response to something in the environment, and you cannot do it. Dog trainers are supposed to train dogs for specific tasks. What are those tasks? Abnormal tasks, abnormal behaviors. That's exactly what Skinner was doing in his lab, was creating abnormal behaviors in the lab animals. This is not convenient to people. This is not convenient to trainers, behaviors, and vets. Dog trainers are supposed to treat or train abnormal behaviors in dogs, something that the dog wouldn't ordinarily do. Dogs sit naturally. The abnormal part comes in by teaching them to do it on command. That's the reality. If the dog would normally sit on command, it would be a natural behavior, and every dog would do it. But it needs to be trained. I've never seen a dog look at a set of agility poles and go, I'm going to weave through those. It needs to be trained as an abnormal behavior. Here's the problem. These people are trying to train emotional responses to something in the environment. They jumped everything together. And it's not fair.
Taught your pet to stay away from you, because there's lots of pets who are not conditioned to stay behind a closed door or behind a baby.
Conditioned. There's another big one. That's Pavlov. Not Skinner. Again, they're pushing Konrad most, they're pushing Ivan Pavlov, they're pushing Edward Thorndike, and they're all blaming Skinner. I'm willing to bet this lady has never sat down and read B.F Skinner. And if there's only two things, there's only two possibilities, doctor. Either you're blatantly lying to people and you know it, or you're blatantly ignorant. One or the other.
Speaking. If you are coming up on a holiday celebration and you don't have time to teach your dog to be comfortable in the sanctuary space, or your cat for that matter, contact your veterinarian right now, today, and ask them for medication.
The medication, there you go. It's always medication. We got trainers, I've had dog owners call me. The trainer that they hired recommended the dog be on Prozac. Okay? Or gabapentin, whatever have you. These trainers have no qualifications to call themselves a behaviorist, let alone be prescribing medications. So they go to a vet. Owner goes to a vet. The vet doesn't even question it. That's a serious issue. They just pull out the pen, they write a prescription, they don't look at the dog objectively or subjectively. They don't give a shit. They just give the medication. That's the reality. And if you're not doing this, doctor, then you need to start getting out there and start being your brother's keeper and start kicking these vets' asses. That's the reality. Because there's a lot of vets out there right now, without question, giving out Prozac and shit like candy. And it needs to stop. I've never once met a dog that needed Prozac. I've met a lot of dogs that were on Prozac, and I tell the owners point blank, I cannot work with your dog. You got to wean them off. Because I don't know if the behaviors that I'm seeing are a result of the Prozac or a result of natural behaviors. That's the reality.
That will help you get through the holidays so your pet can be in the sanctuary space. Notice I did.
So the dog goes on Prozac for what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? At what point do you start weaning that medication off? Because you can't just stop Prozac. You can't just stop gabapentin. These are powerful medications that need to be weaned off. That's the reality. So she's saying, you just start using the medication. Are you telling your clients to wean the medication off, or are you keeping them on for life?
I didn't say medicate your pet and then cut them loose with a bunch of visitors. No, we're not gonna.
Because the medication doesn't work, right? The problem is cortisol and adrenaline. And you get on video, doctor, and you explain just how Prozac or gabapentin interacts with cortisol. It does not. That's the reality. It's a Band-Aid, and it's actually not even a functional Band-Aid.
Do that. All right, so what are the elements of a great sanctuary space? Number one, it's away from the action. Number two, there's ambient sound like white noise, brown noise, or Zounds music for pets.
And these are all distractions. Again, why is the dog hiding in the first place? What does the owner want instead? They want a calm dog. That's all they want. So right now you got a dog that's uncalm. And that's the whole thing with aggression and reactivity. It's uncalm dogs. How is that same, vets and behaviors are talking about dangerous dogs? How is that dangerous dog in a calm state? Not dangerous, right? That's the reality. Everybody wants an overall calm dog. But yet you're out there telling them, you know what, you need to enrich everything. You need to give them the toys. You need to give them the treats and everything. This is all causing the problems. Get rid of it all. At what point did toys and dogs become normal? At what point did it become normal for a dog to have a toy box?
Number three, everything your pet needs is there. So water, food, toys, a bed, and for cats, we also need a litter box. Let's get both dogs and cats in the sanctuary space about 15 minutes before visitors arrive, just in case you have some early birds. And we're going to leave them in that space until about 10 minutes after all of your visitors leave.
Okay, so your dog is in their sanctuary space. Your dog is scared. Your dog is uncalm. What happens when the people come in? Is the dog going to stay in that space, or are they going to start barking and raging? What happens when the dog starts barking and raging at the visitors? Because they're going to hear them, going to smell them coming in, and they're not going to stay calm. Most of these dogs are not going to stay calm. So what do you do instead? Are we going to get into that at all?
You just don't know when people are coming back into the house. Maybe they wanted to get an extra bit of that pumpkin pie to bring home, or maybe they forgot something. I mentioned it before. Yeah,
it's always just in case. Keep your dog in the sanctuary space just in case. We're not focusing on fixing anything here. We're not focused on working on things here.
But it's worth mentioning again. Give your pet food toys.
Food toys. There we go. More enrichment, more excitement. This is the reality. They're making a big deal out of everything. And when you're making big deals out of everything, that's what the toys are doing, the food toys and everything else. You're generating excitement. You're creating excitement. Your dog is uncalm, and you're wondering why your dog is attacking people coming in the freaking house. Get rid of everything in the house. If you want calm in the house, get rid of all the excitement.
Give them enough food or puzzle toys so that they can stay
occupied. Yeah, you're using it as a babysitter, right? That's the reality. Instead of actually focusing on helping your dog over the fear and helping your dog over the emotional responses, we're going to start giving the dog things to excite them more. Make it make sense to me, people.
Occupied for the entire time that your visitors are there. What if your pet is just overexcited? Like, this is truly a happy...
You take your dog for a good run, depending on breed. You know what? You can take your dog out and let him chase a friggin' remote control car. 95% of dogs out there were bred to chase something. That's the very reason for their existence. And most dogs today don't get to chase anything. Okay? That's the mental blow up the lines that a lot of these dogs need. You take a pit bull. Most pit bulls that I've met, everybody else was scared of them around here. You call up a dog trainer in this city and you tell them you got an aggressive pit bull, most of them are telling you over the phone to kill your dog. Do the world a favor. Pit bulls, they get mentally stressed. They got to blow out those lines on something. Get them out chasing an RC car, chasing a vert pole. How come we're not talking about this stuff prior to it?
Be joyful pet when people are around, but he's jumping all over people and tripping them as they come through the door, and you're trying to let your visitors in and your dog...
That's because the dog is not calm. Why is the dog uncalm? Normally because the house is full of crap that shouldn't be there. All the toys, the puzzle mats, all the enrichment that she keeps pushing. Get rid of all the crap. Inside the house should be calm. If you got a calm dog inside the house and there's no excitement, guess what? Now you got a chance to work on everything. Now you can focus on working on the dog.
Just running out the door, which is extremely dangerous, right? We don't want any dogs...
Yeah, extremely dangerous. Let's layer on the fear.
...hit by cars or anything like that. So what do? For those dogs, we are going to lure them into a separate...
You're going to lure them into a separate space. And guess what? The word lure, I love this. This is also known as bribe. This is where Konrad most primary inducements come into play. What is an inducement? It's a piece of food or affection, whatever have you, to get the dog to do something. You're luring your dog. But yet she's going to blame Skinner. That's the reality. This is not B.F Skinner. This is all Konrad most, primary inducements. The first quadrant. There's no such thing as positive reinforcement trainer. They're all primary inducement trainers. And this lady is going to be a primary inducement trainer under Konrad most. But again, the entire system of ABSAB blames B.F Skinner so they can grab the behaviors logo. Treats are not psychology.
Space, put up a baby gate or close the door, and then let them out to be with the visitors. So basically what you'll do is you'll keep treats.
Treats, there you go. Primary inducements. Look up the word inducement. I don't use treats. I don't use tools. I've never used a crate. I've never used a prong recolor. Why are they constantly pushing treats? Why are they constantly pushing Konrad most primary inducements?
I have here some extra bread that we tear up for Maverick, right? You're going to tear that up into tiny pieces, and then you're going to toss that into the room where you want your dog.
You're using bread as a treat? Bread? What part of bread is a natural diet for a dog?
To go. Ideally, this is very close to the front door. Then you're either going to close the door or put up a baby gate and toss.
What is this fixing? What is this fixing? What are you telling dog owners to do here?
More of those.
Toss some more tiny treats. You have tossed some more primary inducements, but yet they're calling it positive reinforcement. This is a blatant lie. Once again, either this woman is blatantly fucking lying to you, or she's blatantly ignorant, and she needs to sit down and read Skinner. There's only one or two possible outcomes, because this is not Skinner. The only reason why she's blaming Skinner is to take the behaviors logo, because all the shit she's pushing in Konrad most, there's no psychology to. There's no actual behaviors label.
Tiny treats, tiny, like the size of my fingernail, okay, into that room.
Now you see, when you're doing this, when you're feeding a treat, you're supposed to be the positive reinforcement, the primary positive reinforcement in your dog's life. What is positive reinforcement? Here's what they don't want you to know. It's the dog's desires, the dog's wants, the dog's needs. You're supposed to be the primary positive reinforcement in your dog's life, that calm leader that they crave, the calm leader that they can trust and respect. But that calm leader, that positive reinforcement, is replacing themselves with that primary inducement. The dog is doing for you for a piece of food. They're not doing for you because of you. You've taken yourself right out of the game because of that piece of friggin' food.
You want a little treat, Maverick? Let's do it. You're just amazing for lying here. So there's a piece of bread. Anyway.
A piece of bread. Again, is that a biologically appropriate diet for a dog? Flour and yeast? Salt? Sugar?
You're going to toss those treats right.
This is a carnivore. Now understand something. Bread contains a lot of starch. And we're going to cover something else. Dogs are carnivores. They do not produce amylase in their saliva. So that piece of bread is full of starch that the dog can't digest. But it's going to go down into the gut. The pancreas can create a little bit of amylase to break down the starch, but not the sheer amount of starch that vets are shoving down their throat. Most dog food today is 30 to 70% carbs, starches, and sugars, and the dog has zero metabolic need for carbs, starches, and sugars.
Into that room, and then your dog is occupied probably for about 2 or 3 minutes, as long as those treats are really, really tiny. At that point, if your dog is completely calm, no barking, jumping, whining, you can let him out. Some dogs will...
What if they don't calm down? What if they're still jumping and whining and barking? What are you going to do then? Why is the dog uncalm? How do you get the dog into a calm state?
be let out on a leash.
But you see, number one thing they don't ever talk about is the breed needs. Every breed exists for a reason. Border Collies are not going to be happy as a couch potato. They need to get out and chase something. Huskies need to get out and chase the wind. Hunting dogs like terriers, min pins, whatever have you, they are vermin dogs. They are supposed to serve a purpose for chasing, but the dogs never get to chase. And we don't ever hear trainers and vets and behaviors telling you to get your dog out and give them purpose. Let them have that chase. That's what they exist for.
Because once they get to the person, they'll jump again, and some dogs can just be let out to interact. We want your visitors to have treats if they're willing to.
The treats. It's always the treats. It's always the primary inducements. But yet she's going to blame Skinner. This is a serious issue, ladies and gentlemen. There's no psychology to all this shit. Okay? That's the reality. Dog trainers are supposed to be training dogs for specific tasks. Behaviors are supposed to understand psychology, and there's no psychology to this whatsoever. But yet she considers herself a specialist or an expert in behavior. Doctor, do me a favor and do up a video where you actually define and explain what a behavior is. Because once you do, then you destroy your own career, don't you? That's the reality.
Cooperate. Now, some people are not willing to cooperate, and I get that. As a guest, I'm not there to work. I'm there to be a guest and enjoy my friends and family.
If people are not willing to cooperate with my dog, guess what? You don't come in. You do not come into my household. That's the reality.
So if your guests don't want to cooperate by handing your dog treats when he's nice and calm, then that...
Oh, that would be me. Because when I enter a person's home, they usually offer me treats. Give the dog a treat. No, I'm just going to squat down and be calm. I'm going to give the dog time to rationalize. The dog's going to understand once they go calm that I'm not a big deal, and eventually they're going to choose to come over to me. I don't need to bribe the dog. That's the reality. Why are you telling people to bribe a dog? Induce a dog. Primary inducement.
Is on you. That means you definitely have to wait until your dog is completely calm to let your dog out of that space, and you have to have treats on.
You have to have treats on you. 15 years ago, treats were a use it and lose it proposition. Today it's an insurance policy. Always have treats on you. Why? I have never used a treat in my life. I've never used a prong or knee collar. This is all Konrad most. Primary inducements, secondary inducements, primary compulsive inducements, and secondary compulsive inducements. The real quadrants of dog training.
On you. When your dog is sitting and calm in the presence of the visitors, you're going to go ahead and
always have that inducement on you. Think long and hard about that, people. Always have that primary inducement on you to bribe your dog every chance you get. But what happens when you don't have treats on you? That's the big question.
And reinforce
that behavior. Skinner himself would tell you that rewards and punishments are not reinforcing. That's the reality. But she doesn't want you to know that. B.F Skinner, in his own book about behaviorism, the book that ABSAB actually bastardized on their website, states clearly that punishment is actually the opposite, reverse of reinforcing
that behavior. Then when you're feeling really confident you can drop the leash, you're ready to go ahead and do that. Keep in mind there are some trigger points that we're just not going to have our pet's presence for, and that's dinner. Okay? If you are in the middle of eating dinner, please go ahead and just put your pet up in its sanctuary space so that everyone can enjoy themselves without any stress. Maverick and I hope that all the pets and people in your life have a fantastic, safe, and joyful.
Now, if you've made it through all this, if you're on Facebook, go join the group. It's called Radical Behaviorism for Dog Aggression and Reactivity. We are completely opposite. None of this shit she's pushing exists in the group. They are not allowed to push dog training. We are not allowed to put, nobody's allowed to push Konrad most. Nobody's allowed to push quadrants. Once you understand what a behavior is, we're teaching you a bit of psychology and how to actually apply it. And once you understand how to do that, you're going to be firing every dog trainer, every behaviorist, and every vet behaviorist because they're out there freaking lying to you. Why? Because they want your money. Have a good day.